Folks, welcome into another episode of SportsBookReview.com's Roundtable series of videos. We're going to talk a little bit of NFL today. We've done a lot. When's the season going to get started? When are we talking about the draft? What's going to take place there? How about a little bit of talk of around the NFL to keep everybody up to date? Let me bring in my esteemed NFL panel, Flash Watson, Ian Cameron, and Teddy Savransky. Let's get right into it here. Running backs' lives do matter, which is exactly why I wanted to bring Teddy Covers on this episode with us today. But first, we're going to start off with Flash. Flash, $16 million a year. Have we not learned? Don't pay your running backs like quarterbacks. Carolina goes in and splashes the market, splashes the pot in poker, and says, here's your $16 million. Now go out there and perform.
Yeah, I mean, it's a strange one because you look at it, and I look at this sometimes in other sports as well, and he's obviously the star. He's not just a running back, over 1,000 yards receiving as well. So they've gambled. They've gambled. Obviously, Christian McCaffrey, wealth ticked. But when he finishes his career, yes, he's going to have all that money in the bank, but what will he have possibly achieved in the game? So he's a big fish in a small pond. I'm thinking that they may be thinking about a trade in a couple of years. And obviously with that number being so high, they may well get a couple of first-round picks. So I think it's a massive gamble for the Panthers. But they had nowhere to go, Donnie.
No, you're right, Flash. And Ian, I'm going to bring you into the conversation here because when we take a look at running backs and teams that gain paid, let's also remember in the NFL, there is a salary cap floor. Somebody has to get this money. So you cut Cam Newton loose, retirement of Luke Kuechly, you lose Davis at linebacker. So you don't have a lot of you have talented players, but not a lot of high-paid players. Somebody's got to get that money. He ends up getting it. But we've seen it in the past time and time again. Look, Zeke Elliott runs very well behind an expensive offensive line for the Dallas Cowboys. We saw Todd Gurley definitely demand the money and get it, but then we fall back on running backs, get dinged up. Is it worth it? Look, burn, churn, 4 years, 3 years with these guys. Don't sign him into that second contract. He really gets paid in this. Look, I can't fault, what I'm saying here, Ian, is I can't fault the Panthers for doing this because, again, somebody has to get paid, but we've seen this before. Paying running backs monster money doesn't really equate into Super Bowl championships.
Yeah, Donnie, I'm super conflicted on this. I mean, based on performance and based on merit, he deserves every penny he's getting, Christian McCaffrey, because of the fact he can do it all. He is as complete a running back as you can get. He is a great runner, physical runner, strength, open field speed to break away from opposing tacklers. He is an excellent, not good, excellent pass catcher. Can use him in the screen game, can use him in the short passing game. He's great at that. He can block downfield as well. I think he's an underrated blocker as well. He is the complete and total package when it comes to that. And he's coming off a season with a team, Donnie, where, the quarterback position was unstable all year. Cam Newton stunk when he was in there. It was at least not very good when he was in there, then gets hurt. And then Kyle Allen comes in. He is what he is, average at best, mediocre at best. An offensive line that was okay, not great. And to think that with all of these, questionable suspect parts around him, and that he still had the season he had, Christian McCaffrey, it's remarkable. Here's the problem, though. Degradation on the body, debilitation of a running back's career, and the running back in terms of longevity, in terms of durability, it can go like that. And when you're going to pay a guy that kind of money, and think about it from McCaffrey's perspective, guys, the number of carries he had last year, insane. It's like he never left the football field. It's like he was on the field for every damn play last year during Carolina Panthers games. He never got off the field. He is a strong guy. He's really worked out and to improve his upper body strength over the last couple seasons, but he's still a smaller in stature guy. The physical pounding is going to increase. And you think of the situation in Carolina, lack of skill position weapons, Teddy Bridgewater, not a guy that can carry a team at the quarterback position, needs that running back, I think, needs that running game to be successful. So the number of carries and the workload is going to stay the same, if not even maybe go up a little bit for McCaffrey. Long-term durability, considering the money he's getting, that's always the biggest concern. You worry that this is Todd Gurley part 2 from a speed perspective, that this could be just, knees get shot, who knows, and your best, you have 1-2 more great years, and that's the end of it. And let's not forget Zeke Elliott, the money he got. And what happened to him, after he got paid. He didn't have a good season by his standards last year with Dallas, and he had a better O-line. He had a little bit more to work around him to prop him up, make him look good than Christian McCaffrey did. So from that standpoint, this is a gamble. I think based on performance, he's earned the money, but boy, as you mentioned, Donnie, give a running back this kind of money. with the physical debilitation that can take place, it's a risk. No question about
Yeah.
it.
No, you bring up some valid points. You could throw in, Johnson out of Arizona got the big money, and then he's parlayed off because they don't even want to pay the guy, so they just throw him into a trade and send him off to Houston. Now, the guy I'm going to bring in right now, he is the president and chapter president nationally of the Running Backs Do Matter guidelines here. So I'm going to bring Teddy into this conversation here. This is big money to me. I think he's worth the money, but also if I'm looking from an organizational perspective and standpoint, Teddy, I'm saying, look, I'm going to pay the guy $16 million, but that probably means over the next 1 to 2 years, we better be making runs at the Super Bowl to make this worth it. Because if we're looking 3, 4, and 5 years down the road, he's going to be used up. He's going to be banged up. Not the biggest guy, Teddy, but yes, I do agree with you. Running backs' lives do matter, Teddy.
Running backs don't matter one iota. And all you have, honestly, all you have to do is look at the Chargers, where here's Melvin Gordon, oh my God, the monster back, and here's Austin Eckler, who nobody's ever heard of from some little college, and they pay Gordon, and who's the better back, Eckler? And that goes, you look at the top 10 contracts for running backs in the NFL right now, you find me one good one. One. There's none. Okay, every running back that gets paid ends up being a bad contract. Every one of them, 100%, it is the single worst position to pay. So am I saying Carolina made the right move? Of course not, from a football perspective. But for Carolina this year, it's not about football. This is a last-place team. They are in full-on rebuilding mode. They could care less if they don't win a game this year. They signed Christian McCaffrey for one reason and one reason only. They got to sell tickets. Okay, in this economy, in this environment, a team that used to sell out every game didn't sell out every game last year. McCaffrey is the fan favorite on that team, and they made a move. We got money to spend. Let's make sure that we sign the most popular player on our team so we will sell tickets. It's not about winning games for Carolina. It's only about making sure that Jerry Richardson's pockets are lined as they're supposed to be lined every football season with a full crowd, because he's the Panthers fan favorite. And when you trade a guy like that or let him walk for a last place team, your attendance ends up getting the result of that. So they signed McCaffrey to sell tickets. No other reason. Make no mistake about it. And for that reason, for a last place team, it makes sense. I sign off on the deal.
No, it completely makes sense from that perspective. I guess maybe we could say like the last time it really worked where he said, we need this running back. We have to pay this running back a lot of money. Maybe going back to the early 90s with the Dallas Cowboys when they opened up 0-2 for Emmitt Smith sitting on the sideline. Emmitt Smith signs that monster money deal. Jerry caves. They go on to win the Super Bowl. But outside of that, really hasn't paid all that much dividends here. Let's keep it moving here. Some public polls. Flash, I'm going to bring you into this conversation here. How about this? Look, I'm an NFL lifer. I love the NFL. I hope it starts on time. I hope there's 80,000 people in the stands. But we might be a little bit delayed here. Looking at some of the polls that came out, 46% think the NFL should not open on time because obviously not getting enough time in the offseason. And we don't know if we're going to have fans in the stands or if the players or even the audience says, you know what, let's wait until everything is perfect. Let's wait till everything gets back to normal. Let's play in some packed stadiums. Also, 77% Flash think the delay is if the players aren't given enough time to actually get in shape. And that's why I want to bring you in here, Flash, because talk about playing from that pro level perspective. Look, you're professionals. You can't just snap your finger and in 3 days go out there and put on a perfect match in soccer or a perfect football game here, Flash.
No, it's way too early though, Donnie. You think to yourself, we're only in April. Even if they made a decision on the 1st of June, that still gives them near a full 3 months before the start of the season. And for me, these polls, they just fill in space. They're just like, it don't matter what the public think. They don't care what the public think. No one takes notice of what the public thinks. It's all about the decision makers, and it's far too early. I think that if they have a look around June the 1st and things start looking up, I think that we're ready to go. Even if they had just a week delay and just given themselves just that little bit more of an edge, then for me, I think fans will be in now and we will be ready to go. But there again, I'm always half full, Donnie. I don't want no negativity. I want the NFL now.
I love it, Flash. I love the attitude because I want it as soon as possible. We're in. Let's talk about, because we always slant this towards the NFL because you can use any sport in this aspect. Most players right now, as we take a look in April, they're really gearing up for the season, working hard with their trainers, putting in the time in the offseason to get ready. Now, all of a sudden you can't work with your trainer. If you played hockey, like not everybody has a ice arena in their backyard as a National Hockey League player. The same thing with just like an Eagles player, a Cowboys player. They're used to going to the facility, getting in a really good workout, keeping up the nutrition, and hanging out with their teammates. That's not going to happen this year. Do you think there's going to be any lag with the actual overall play come the fall? Because, hey, if they miss out on 6 to 7 weeks of programs and workouts and getting their body right in the offseason, that has to level up come fall, doesn't it?
Yeah, unfortunately, Donnie, we don't have security cameras with all these players, and we don't know what they're doing training-wise, regiment-wise. Or they got the home gyms going on? Do they got the workout routines going on daily? I can tell you I don't, but we need to know what they're doing. And at this point in time, we don't. However, I think if we get a full training camp, I don't know about preseason games, how many, maybe they'll slice those down a bit. But if we have a full training camp, or at least somewhat of a training camp, give us a 2-week training camp, I think that's going to help in terms of getting these, as long as there's something in place training camp wise, get these players ready for the regular season. That's what to me will lead to better quality of play immediately when the season begins. As far as the season beginning, I think it's going to start on time. Look, Goodell and Trump are buddies. You know, these two guys are going to bend over backwards to make sure the NFL season gets going on time. It is an economic engine and force for the United States. I think the NFL somehow will get started on time by September. Now, the question of fans or no fans, I think, is up for debate. I think there is a possibility there'll be no fans. But to me, if all the leagues, everybody will move mountains. They will break barriers to get the NFL going on time, more than the NBA, more than the NHL, more than anything else. The NFL is that's important and that big in the United States. People will move mountains to make sure we have NFL football in September.
No, I do agree with you there, because I think the other leagues are actually doing it right now also. When you take a look at like the NBA for perspective, they're still getting their paychecks tomorrow, even though they really haven't played in a month. Once those paychecks stop coming, we'll see how real the environment gets and how much that push is coming back. Teddy, let me bring you into this conversation too, because we see what the polls actually say. But also let's keep in mind, on the 20th, virtual offseason starts in the NFL. Just being from a bettor's perspective and shifting gears a little bit, some of these teams have a built-in advantage. They've been there, done that. They've been, 5-6 years of the same quarterback, head coach, same GM. But you're also looking at a lot of teams that now they're getting on what we're doing with Skype or Zoom and saying, hey, everybody, let's get in the classroom. And we don't really know the playbook, but here's what it looks like here. We can't get you on the field. A virtual offseason, Teddy. Who would ever have thought that?
So there are 5 teams in the NFL that have a new head coach, a new offensive coordinator, and a new defensive coordinator coming into the new season. They've had no chance to meet the team, no chance to put their stuff in place, no chance to get anything going. I'm looking in terms of a perspective on what I want to do with the NFL when it comes out. I'm going to bet against all 5 of those teams, and I'll bet against them the first month of the season, and we'll see where we land. But I honestly look and say the 5 teams that both coordinators and the head coach. So everything's new. Everyone's got to learn new schemes, and the offseason program has just been canceled. Those teams have to be at a significant disadvantage coming into the campaign. And you say, all right, well, here's 5 teams I want to bet against, say the first 4 games. There's 20 games I want to bet right off the bat. I think I'll win 12 of those, without doing any work. Maybe 13, maybe 14, but I think I can win 12 of those games. I'm confident that those 5 teams are bet against coming into the campaign. They're not the only ones, though, but your point about continuity, Donnie, is the one that makes the most sense to me. And it's fascinating, regardless of sport right now. It doesn't matter if we talk NFL, we can talk NHL, we can talk NBA, we can talk college football, whatever it is. The teams with the returning starters, with the quarterbacks in place, with the offensive coordinators in place, with the key defenders in place, with the coaching staff in place, they're going to have a huge edge over the teams that are trying to learn new schemes. And that will play out on the field in September. I'm confident of that, assuming we see football the way that we hope to.
Flash, playing things out in September, one of my favorite things every offseason is how every single NFL team, to me, for the most part, misses the mark on actual upgrades, or should I say downgrades, to their uniform. I sit here in Philadelphia. Jeffrey Lurie bought the Philadelphia Eagles in the mid-'90s and changed our beloved Kelly green to midnight green. Now, yes, we have gotten used to it. Still haven't gotten back to it. Only got 1 game on opening day against Green Bay about a decade ago where they flashed those 1960 Kelly greens over again. But the reason why I'm asking you this, Flash, the Bucs, Colts, and Falcons have already changed their Manager updated their uniforms, as well as the Rams' new logo. The Browns are set to introduce new uniforms and new uniform tweaks on April the 15th, which is tomorrow. So if we take a look at these uniforms, I laughed at this. I thought the Bucs would be able to hit a home run with their creamsicle uniforms that they used to wear, and instead they go to some we're going to go back to the early 2000s. Then you take a look at, Atlanta Falcons look like they have some XFL-style uniforms. Why is it so hard for these teams, Flash, or at least to me, to miss the marks with the uniforms? But also, Flash, do you like any of these uniform changes?
The Colts is probably the closest because it's hardly changed. I mean, the Colts is obviously, we just see it's white with a bit of blue or blue with a little bit of white. It's all about money. As Teddy just said about bums on seats when you sign players, changing shirts, everybody, all your fan base, they want to have the latest updated shirt. And that's just to bring in money. I mean, listen, you've always got the look good, feel good, play good mentality. But when you're a professional sportsman, you don't really care. You just want to make sure that you've got a shirt. And I mean, some clubs, I know that some in England, they used to take a fans, put up maybe 3 shirts and see which was the most popular. But at the end of the day, the most popular meant they were going to sell the most of them, Donnie. And again, it's about the money.
Flash, you're such a sportsman, man. Like we think on the same type of guidelines here, because I remember even going back to my high school and college days of playing football, and I actually took into effect if the guy lined up across from me and his uniform was really tight and looked good and crisp, I was like, you know what? He's probably a really good football player. It's kind of interesting that you brought that up. Ian, I'm going to bring you in here because a lot of these teams I thought could have made home runs. Equated to even like the National Hockey League. You're a Canadian, Ian. What if Montreal just said, hey, you know what, guys? We're going to be green for the next 10 years, or let's go to the Toronto Maple Leafs and we're going to go to a nice shade of red. Why not just go back to the uniforms they were meant to be so they look the best and everybody is happy with it? Why are we always changing with this stuff, Ian?
Yeah, this is going to be a miracle statement from my end because it's going to be about 30 seconds or less. But I don't like any of these jerseys right here, any of them. But other than the Colts, and the Colts got it right. They kept it pretty. How can you screw up the Colts? Blue, white, and the horseshoe. It's very different. It's not complicated. Figure it out. But like Flash said, it's about the money. Is it going to affect TV revenue? No. Is it going to affect the people interest in the NFL? No. This is just all window dressing and something to talk about on a show like this.
Teddy, I get upset by this stuff. This is the stuff that, like, we're in the offseason. I'm usually trying to break down Major League Baseball games, but I'm getting upset by these uniform changes. I know it's about the money, but come on, Teddy. But put me in the front office to make these uniform changes here. And by the way, do you like any of these moves? And keep in mind, those Browns coming out tomorrow, if they go back to the Frank Minifield, Bernie Kosar jerseys, I'm going to applaud. But they're the Browns. What do we expect they're going to change?
Okay, so this is the point of a uniform from my perspective. There's only one point of it. I don't care if the guy's a naked or not. What I want, okay, when I click onto that channel, I want to be able to instantly know this is Team A, this is Team B. That's all I want from a uniform. It's not, but I'm not the target audience for people that are going to buy uniforms. I'm not a guy that goes around and buys jerseys. And the leagues and the teams certainly use it as a revenue generator. But all I ask of any of these uniform changes is when I click on the TV, don't make me hear the announcer say, oh, and Tampa Bay is driving. I want to be able to see, oh, that's Tampa Bay. They're driving. So whenever the uniform makes it so that I am confused about what team it is for even a second, that becomes a bad uniform. Colts, again, they can't screw it up. It's easy. You got the little horseshoe, So of all the changes that have been made, the Colts is the least offensive to me. Because I don't want changing the uniform. I want the uniforms to look exactly like they did the last time I saw that team.
Teddy's exactly right. When you click on SBRodds.com or sportsbookreview.com, you know the exact team you're watching here. Flash watching Ian Cameron and Teddy Sobransky, along with myself, Donnie Seymour. Thanks for tuning into another Roundtable episode, this time going around the NFL. For all the NFL and more, always check out sportsbookreview.com.